Very good morning to all of you, dear participants. Today I am going to make a video of POM because might be possible that many of you have not attended the class of POM due to many reasons. Some of maybe having like fever they can have, or some other issues might be there because of which you were not able to attend the class of POM. So let's start. Okay, in production and operations management, operations is a wider term than production because it includes production also in itself. So, as in this introduction part, I have written that production and operations management is defined as the design, operations, and improvement of the transformation process, which converts the various inputs into the desired outputs of the products and services. So, there are two terms, production and services. So as you know that products are tangible and services are intangible in nature. The production and operations management is being increasingly replaced by simply operations management. Many times we call only as operations management. So as the production function relating to the manufacturing organizations has become a part of operations, operations management is a broad term which includes manufacturing as well as service organizations. Okay, so as I told you that this is a wider term, operations. Now let's move ahead. Now here, what is the need that why we should study production and operations management? So here I have enlisted the reasons, or you can say these are the functions of POM. So you decide upon the location of facilities, and you come to know about that how to design the plant layouts and material handling, how to handle the material. Then product design we study under this POM subject, process design, production and planning control, quality control, materials management, maintenance management. All these aspects are to be studied under production and operations management. That's why we need to study POM. Let's move to the next slide. Here we have levels of POM. So first level is of factory planning, second is of process planning, and third one is of operations planning. So there may be some sub levels also under factory planning. Like in factory planning there are so many things. uh, Here we can consider the place where we should develop our factory, or we should have our factory, or the place where or location where we should start our services. So and also we look about that from where we are going to have our raw material, how to we are going to hire employees in our factory or in our service center. So all those things come under the category of factory planning. Next is your process process planning. So under process planning, all the operation about manufacturing comes under this process planning, and operation planning is everything. So operation planning means starting with planning of the location, decision about the location where your manufacturing plant or service industry would be there, and up to the how to you are going to sell out your product. So operation planning covers all the aspects in your business or services. So these are the three levels. Now next is functions of POM and as well as of manager. So here I have enlisted the various tasks to be performed by a manager in any area, and the similar thing is for functions of POM also. So these are the functions: planning the geographical location of the factory, purchasing production equipment, layout of equipment within the factory, design a production process and equipment, product design, designing production work, and establishing work standards, capacity planning, production planning and scheduling, production control, inventory management, supply chain management. The list is going on. Quality control, production equipment maintenance and repair, measurement and monitoring of productivity, industrial relations, personal matters, health and safety, staff selection and training, budgeting and capital planning. So these all are the functions of a manager or POM. Okay, next is about the transformation process. So transformation process is what about? This is about how to you manufacture your product or how to you provide services. Okay, so here I have taken models of services as well as of manufacturing organizations. So the first model is of transformation process for a hybrid service and manufacturing organizations are restaurant. So before transformation process we have inputs, and after transformation process we have outputs in the business, in a business or in a service industry. Sorry. So here we can see there are four phases. Like first is of inputs. Now in class also one of you have asked me that why customers have been put in the category of inputs, because inputs means the sources because of which we start manufacturing of the product or we start servicing. So here, until and unless you would not have customers in your restaurant, you would not start uh, to cook your food. Okay, so that's why customers have been enlisted in the category of inputs. And other things, waiter, chef, manager, furniture, building, food, all things are your inputs. So these are the sources, those would be helpful for you in the transformation process. And after transformation process, oh, एक minute. You have outputs, customers satisfied with good preparation of the food, pleasant behavior and personality of the waiters, appropriate price charged. Okay, and then you would take feedback. So here feedback mechanism should be there. How? Why? Because you have to maintain the quality of your food, and that's why here I have written, here we have quality of inputs monitored. So after quality of the food is monitored, we try to implement in our transformation process to provide the best quality food to the customers. And we have here random disturbances also, like high turnovers of the chefs, waiters, etc. High turn means your waiters and chefs change their jobs very frequently, like they used to left your restaurant very soon. Then comes inflation, government's taxation policies. Okay, so this is a transformation process of a restaurant. On the next slide we have transformation process of a manufacturing organization, that is a refrigerator manufacturer. So here also you can have inputs as machines and equipment, components, parts, sub-assemblies, etc., office infrastructure, computers, furniture, etc., packaging material, capital, building, workers, managers. So all these sources would be required as inputs to start the manufacturing of refrigerator. So here after transformation process outputs, you would have refrigerators with good cooling performance, less consumption of electricity, good after sale service, genuine price, new advanced features. Then again you have the feedback mechanism here also. If your sales are rising, it means you are providing a good product. Lesser customer complaints also means that your product is good. Positive response of customers in the feedback forms, that is. And here we can have negative feedback also. Here only positive things, positive aspects have been mentioned, but there can be negative aspects also. Here also we have random disturbances like high turnover of workers and managers, recession, government's taxation policy, strikes instigated by trade union. Okay, so this is the transformation process of a refrigerator manufacturing. Now in this chart, we have transformation process from an entrepreneur point of view. So here you can see that operations strategies again going back to the production or process choice. So here three things, I have made a separate video for that also to explain, like just in time system, then offshoring and outsourcing, what these things are. I made a separate video for that. I have forwarded on WhatsApp group already. Okay, so this is a transformation process from an entrepreneur point of view. Then comes to the next slide, that is about productivity. Now the productivity simply means the maximum utilization of your available resources to get maximum output, so that your production as well as profit can be maximized. Okay, so this is the definition of productivity. And mathematically, how do you find productivity? Output in a period of time. Yeah, that is very important. So here always productivity is to be find out for a particular time period, like for 1 month, for 1 week, or 1 day, or 1 year also. So whatever time period is you are considering, for that period you need to find productivity by using this formula: output in a period of time, input in the same period of time. So if you are trying to find productivity for one month, then output and input both should be for that time period only. And here I have tried to give you a transformation process or validation in terms of productivity. So your productivity is find out output divided by input. This is the mathematical formula. Again, the same thing has been written here also: quantity of goods and service produced, amount of resource used. Now productivity can be find in many aspects, like here I have given the formula to find labor productivity, है ना? So how do you can find labor productivity? Suppose here I have given an example. Suppose a company generated a $80,000 worth of goods in 15 hours. So if you divide that worth $80,000 divided by 1500 hours, so you are going to have $53 per hour of work. So this is the labor productivity in terms of per hour of work. Same you can find per employee a week. So here in the next example, you can see that a company generated $80,000 worth of goods or services with 30 employees. So here you have given information of inputs as number of employees. So if you divide $80,000 by 30 employees, you are going to have productivity in terms of per employee a week, because you have given data for a week here. So in this way you can see that labor productivity can be find out in two ways: per hour of work or per employee a week, whatever time has been given. Now come to next slide. Here we have partial factor productivity. Like you may have given data of output and input in terms of cost and revenue. So here, as you can see, the total revenue is $50,000 and your cost has occurred of $8,000. So you can find partial factor productivity as 1.8. So here you can see that to have profit, it is important, it is necessary to have value of productivity greater than 1. If it is less than 1, it means organization is not in profit at all. Okay, it would be in profit only if productivity is greater than 1. So this is an important aspect to be remembered. Come to the next slide. Now here let's see what are the factors those affect productivity. So Here I have discussed about the factors. Number one is human, like a human can the aspect of human can be divided into two parts, like ability to work and willingness to work. So in ability to work, productivity of an organization depends upon the competence and caliber of its people, both workers and managers. Ability to work is governed by education, training, experience, aptitude, etc. of the employees. You know very well these things. And the second aspect is willingness to work. So motivation and morale of the people is the second important group of human factors that determine productivity. Wage incentive schemes, labor participation in management, communication system, informal group relations, promotion policy, union management relations, quality of leadership, etc. are the main factors governing employees' willingness to work. So the first factor is human beings. Those affect the productivity a lot. Let's come to the second point. The next factor is technological. So here under the technological factor, I have enlisted many things. So in all these points, obviously technology is going to play a role. So so under the factor technological factor, we have these aspects to be considered because they are going to affect your productivity. Size and capacity of plant, product design and standardization, timely supply of materials and fuel, rationalization and automation measures, repairs and maintenance, production planning and control, plant layout and location, materials handling system, inspection and quality control, machinery and equipment used, research and development, inventory control, reduction and utilization of waste and scrap, etc. So you can see that under every aspect, in all the aspects, we have a role of technology, definitely. And I have told you in the class also, technology doesn't mean that use of computers. Technology simply means whichever makes your life easy and fast, that would be considered as technology. Okay, now come to the next factor, that is managerial. So again, manager plays a very important role in your productivity. The competence and attitudes of managers have an important role in productivity. In many organizations, productivity is low despite of having latest technology and trained manpower. Why? Because their managers are not efficient enough. So competent and dedicated managers can obtain extraordinary results from ordinary people. So job of a manager is very important. So job performance of employees depends on their ability and willingness to work. This has we have discussed under the factor human beings. So managerial means the role of manager or efficiency of manager again plays an important role in productivity. Next is your natural. So nature cannot be ignored at all. So nature again play a very important role in productivity. Natural factors such as physical, geological, geographical and climatic conditions exert considerable influence on productivity. So like in for example, I have given here productivity of labor in extreme climates, too cold or too hot, tends to comparatively low. Natural resources like water, fuel, and minerals influence productivity. And here I have taken example of extractive industries. Extractive industries like mines, gold mines, coal mines. So okay, these are the extractive industries, or even oil industries also comes under the category of extractive industries. Now the fifth point is sociological. Social customs, traditions and institutions influence attitudes towards work and job. For instance, bias on the basis of caste, religion, etc. inhibited the growth of modern industry in some countries, the joint family system affected incentives to work hard in India, close ties with land and native place hampered stability and discipline among industrial labor. So here this sentence, the joint family system affected incentive to work hard in India. This may be uh, a problem to understand for you guys. So let me clear that here it means that because if there are more members in the family, then obviously the person who is working in industry would have some affection with the family members, and he wants to finish his work as early as possible, and wants to go to home early. So that's why here system, this joint family system affects incentives to work hard in India. But if someone has nuclear family, he doesn't have that much of affection with the family because he has or she has very few members in family, then they try to work a lot in their organization. So this is the meaning of the sentence. Come to the next, that is political factor. Okay, definitely political factors are there because government policies influence the productivity, and they definitely have a very uh, bad or good impacts on our productivity, like in capital formation, modernization and expansion of plants, etc. Industrial policy affects the size and capacity of plants. Tariff policies influence competition. So as you know that there are three types of policies: taxation policies, industrial policy, and tariff policies imposed by the government in any state or in a country also. Seventh is economic. Definitely size of the market, banking, credit facilities, transport and communication system. These all play important role in your productivity. Let's come to the next slide. Now come to the product design. So what does it mean by product design? Product design means the making a product which fulfills the need of customers as well as provide us maximum profit. Okay, so this is the meaning of product design. So time to time production firms should try to make changes in the design of their products as per the requirement or or willingness of the customers, or maybe because of uh, product designing of your competitors. So you need to compete with them also. So for that purpose also you need to redesign your product. Okay, so here this is the meaning of product design. Now there are a few concepts in product design. So these are the concepts. I have discussed all these concepts one by one, like manufacturability. Manufacturability means ease of manufacturing the product, simply how easily you can manufacture your product. And reverse engineering means you inspect the product, existing product of your competitors, and try to redesign your product accordingly, because might be possible that your competitors are doing well in the market, so you also want to increase your sales and want to capture the market more. So that's why this reverse engineering uh, occurs. So this is the second concept in product design. The third one is research and development. Obviously in every organization we have research R&D team which helps in redesigning or uh, restructuring of the services. Next is robust design. Robust design means designing a product that is operational in varying environmental conditions. For example, among four-wheelers, a Jeep is more robust in design as it can even be used efficiently on hilly areas with poor road conditions. So this is the meaning of robust design. Then computer-aided design. Obviously, computers are very much in use nowadays to design a product because they provide multi-dimensional view of the product. Next is concurrent engineering, when all the department in the organization work together to redesign the product, that is called as concurrent engineering. Then this is the product life cycle: incubation, growth, maturity, saturation, then decline. Saturation means that now people have got bored from your services or from the design of your product. That's why the saturation point comes in a product life cycle. Okay, then comes products and services. Uh, at the time of when we were reading first slide, I told you that there are two terms: products and services. Products are tangible in nature, services are intangible. Though all industries may be as service industries to an extent, even purely manufacturing organizations do not just sell a product but provide some form of backup, such as after sale services, advice, warranty, repair, installation, or training. So the manufacturing organizations also can be considered as service industries to some extent, because after selling out their product they provide these kind of services like advice, warranty, repair, and training, installation, or other things, services also. Okay, now come to the next slide, which is about the characteristics of services. So the first characteristic of services is intangible. As I've told you that we cannot touch the services, so that's why these are intangible in nature. You can read out, understand this. So in reading the slides, if you have any confusion or doubt, you can ask on the WhatsApp group, or you personally also you can ask me that sir, that this sentence is not clear to me, or this particular word is not clear to me. Please explain the meaning of this particular sentence or word. Okay, I would definitely explain. So here I am moving a little bit fast. Partiality means is the death. So if the ticket of a cinema hall is not sold out, it vanishes at that time. So for that particular day your services are lost, you know, so that would be considered as a loss. So this is the second characteristics of services. So once your services have not been sold for that day or for that particular time, they would be considered as vanishes. Okay, inseparability means that it means that you cannot separate the service provider and the services. Like a musician and his music or her music cannot be separated. Similarly, I have given examples of dentists and dancers. So these people are providing services, different services, and their services cannot be separated from them at all. So this is the third characteristics of services. Heterogeneity. So because in services the two people may have different experiences about the same kind of service. Like if two people are watching a movie, they can have different perspectives, they can have different experience about that movie. So this is the meaning of heterogeneity. So services are heterogeneous in nature, in experience actually. Okay, similarly as in matches also, you see that the rates of chairs uh, you book to watch the match is different. So the costs of chairs according to the position of that chair is different for different chairs. This is the meaning of heterogeneity. Then comes ownership. Services cannot be owned by by the customers. Like if you book a hotel room, then you would not become owner of that room. You would stay there for a particular time, for whatever time you have hired that room. So this is again a characteristic of services, that ownership remains with the service provider only. Then simultaneity is again it is similar as we have seen in inseparability. Okay, it is same like third, but little bit difference must be here. Like in simultaneity, services can't be delivered to customers or users. Services don't move through the channel of distribution for availing the services. It is essential that the users are brought to the providers, or the providers go to the users. It is right to say that the services have limited geographical areas. So simultaneity means the services and the customer uh, cannot be far away from each other. They have to come together, they have to be simultaneous, then only customer can avail the services. So this is the meaning of simultaneity. And the seventh characteristic is quality measurement. So in services we have various aspects including like here I have must have given an example. As for example, we can quantify the food served in a hotel, but the way a waiter or a courier serves it, or overall environment or behavior of other staff can't be ignored while rating the total process. So many things are involved in services. In If you want to rate a product which has been manufactured, by looking at that, by tasting that, or by touching that, or by feeling that, you can rate it. But in services, many things are involved with service, so you take into the consideration all those aspects when you are rating or rating the quality of services. So this is again the characteristic of services. So I am ending this video here. Soon I would make one more video. Okay, wish you all the best. God bless you all. Thank you so much.